Back now on Triad today. We have an interesting guest coming up for you. Someone who is in her day job, as we say. She's very involved with a certain organization, Novant Health. J. Paul, we want to see the very lovely Leslie Speas. She's manager of employee engagement at Novant Health. But what I'm trying to say is she also wears a different hat sometimes in helping to educate her employees about alternate forms of transportation. We're going to get into that, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the Triad Commute Challenge. We've had folks come in from PART before, and they tell us all this stuff, so I don't need you to you don't have to repeat everything, but just basically for folks that might have missed some of that, what is a Triad Commute Challenge about?
Okay. Basically, it encourages people in the community to explore alternative modes of transportation as opposed to just driving alone.
Yeah.
And that could include using bus, commuting with others, riding your bike,
sure,
all those type things.
Yeah, walking. Some people are starting to walk to work when they.
That's right.
Actually, I've known some friends that started moving in close to downtown areas, and they'll just walk to their jobs or whatever, and that's good. All right, so here you are, an executive with Novant Health, and you have all this responsibility, but yet you're taking time to talk to employees of Novant about the challenge. What role did Novant play in that?
Okay. Well, Novant communicated with all of our employees through internal communications like email and so forth, but at our largest facility in the Triad, which is Forsyth Medical Center, we actually held some information booths. And those booths included information on the importance of the challenge, alternative modes of transportation that people could take, also provided them with an opportunity to pledge to take an alternative form of transportation, all the things that we talked about, maybe commuting with others, riding their bike to work, considering riding the bus.
You must have done a good job with this because, a lot of times you can go to exhibits and see displays and things, and you take brochures and then you walk away and that's it. But your employees actually decided to support this effort in pretty good numbers. I mean, give me some idea of how successful it was and how involved they were and why they even wanted to do this when there's so many other things that are going on in their life.
Sure. We had about 60 Novant employees in the Triad region pledged to participate in the Triad Commute Challenge. And I think that the reason that we supported it was for a couple of reasons. As we all know, gas prices continue to fluctuate.
Right.
We continue to struggle in the economy. And also there's issues with poor air quality and having a negative effect on the health of people in our community.
Yeah.
So Novant wanted to find a way to help with that.
Sure. That's a perfect fit because, it would be hypocritical to be otherwise. You guys are there taking care of people 24/7 and trying to promote good health. So here you are doing something that's a logical, thing to do, is to say, look, breathe better and let's clean up the air. And in fact, there's evidence that really works when we participate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
What do you see past the Triad Commute Challenge? Once it was said and done, a lot of times people walk away from things and you sort of forget for a while. But do you see a growing or a continued interest by Novant employees in terms of pursuing alternate forms of transportation? Or once the challenge was over, they just go back and do what they were doing, or has it made a difference?
I don't have specific numbers, but just based on anecdotal information, I think that we have had growing interest and have received more calls from employees asking about PART.
Still getting calls?
Yes, still getting calls occasionally. We also have installed bike racks at our larger facilities to encourage people to ride their bike.
That's just great.
I think we continue to see interest, and we'll continue to participate in the challenge each year because we feel like it's the right thing to do, and ultimately it can help improve the health of our community.
Absolutely, and that's got to be preeminent about the whole thing. Now, how did you? When the guest comes on for the first time, I always ask them a couple personal questions. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up here in Winston-Salem for the most part.
And how did you find your way into Novant? Because they're very glad to have you, very lucky to have you. How did you get into the medical field?
Well, I've been with Novant about 8 years. Actually, that was my first entry into the medical field. My background has been in human resources, and prior to coming to Novant, I worked in insurance, and prior to that in manufacturing.
So a lot of varied experience.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, I just think that's great. Did anybody in your family were nurses or doctors, anybody that sort of gave you an idea or spurred you on to go into healthcare or anything like that?
Well, my dad's actually a radiological physicist at Baptist.
That's great. That's great. It's not, we didn't get a commercial of Baptist Hospital. That's great that he has that and sort of spurred you on to get into the business.
That's correct.
Well, I just appreciate what you do, and Novant is just a great place, and I just appreciate all they do for the community too. Here at www.partnc.org for more information about PART. We'll be right back.